Ollie, you're on mute.
Evening. Am I? I'm not. There we go. We are live. Everything's good. Good evening, everyone. It is Monday. Welcome to the Total Evercade Podcast. I hope everybody is well. How are we all doing? We all good?
Yeah.
Good.
Good? Yes. Excellent stuff. The chat is full of people already. You are all very, very welcome here. We'll go through who's in the chat in a minute. So, yes, welcome, everybody. So, Total Evercade Podcast, episode 11. Joining us this evening, we have got Mr. Ryan.
Hello, everyone. I'm actually smiling. If you saw my post on Facebook earlier, you probably thought I was in a bit of a grumpy pants, but I'm okay. If you didn't see my post on on the Evercade Hangout earlier, then I will discuss it in a bit more detail a bit later in the stream.
Okie dokie. We shall get to that. We have got Mr. Blunners.
Hello, everyone. What?
Evening. And then joining us again, we missed him on the last episode. We have got Sir Top Hat himself, Mr. Derek. Welcome back, Derek. How are we doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, it's great to be back. So yeah, hopefully an exciting show ahead.
Oh, I think it is going to be. There's lots of things to discuss, lots of things to unpack, unpick, and all that good stuff. So let's quickly run through the chat. We have got Mr. Dan Nastic in the house. Evening, Mr. Dan. How are you doing, buddy? I hope you're good. We've got Nicholas Skipkins. Nick, how's it doing? Nice to see you again. We've got Mr. Nick C. You are obviously very welcome here. We've got Obsolete Worlds. Welcome, Mr. Rob Taylor. We have got Mr. Tim himself, Mr. Triangle Face. We have got Enrico. Hello, how are we doing, good sir? We have got Ziggy. We have got loads of people. We got Lammy Pie. Everybody is here this evening. And then
Can
Mr.
you just
Dave
say
Listener.
Enrico again for us, please? Because I
Enrico.
lovely.
Go.
Okay, have a little roll on the tongue with a name like that. You can't have a name like that and not say it properly. Superb. Yes, welcome everybody. You are all very, very welcome here as we kick off episode 11. So to kick us all off, as we always do, let's start with what we've been playing and the latest news. So, Derek, let's start with you this evening. What have you been playing?
Well, I've been back on my old favourite 40 Winks. I'm about a level now off of completing it, but I've just been really enjoying just taking my time. Some of the start bits before you actually go into the stages is just fantastic. The particular one I'm on at the moment is a castle with a moat, and you can jump into the moat. And I don't want to spoil it too much for people, but you can dive and you can like find caves in there, and you can go through the caves and find access to more stages. And I've been looking all around the levels, just trying to find absolutely everything I can. So that's been a real plus this week. Also, I've been given the game of the month, Magic and Legend, a bit of a go as well. And been having a lot of fun playing some Game Boy as well, because I used to have a Game Boy years ago. So yeah, I've got a bit of nostalgia for that. So yeah, I've been enjoying that too.
Excellent. I've seen a little bit of the game of the month, and graphically it looks very, very cool. It's almost some of those little cutscene, little stills and stuff. It just looks great. Yeah, it looks really, really cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to diving in on that one and seeing how that one goes. Excellent. Good stuff. Mr. Ryan, what have you been playing recently?
Well, I have been playing Morph Cat. So I went back to that one, and I've been playing Micro Mages, which is quite cool. Would you describe it as a platform game? I guess it's you've got to get from the bottom of the screen up to the top. So I've been enjoying that. it's a game that I kind of forgot that I had, to be honest. I forgot I even owned that cartridge because
Yeah.
I've got it along with Elwes Awakening and Cathedral at Christmas, and obviously I dedicated a lot of time into Elwes, and Morphcat just went on to the shelf, so I didn't really give it much time. But it's actually a really good game.
Yeah.
Really like it, and obviously there's a sequel on there as well, so I'll be able to play that after. It's quite tricky though, but it would be good to play with other people because it's a 4-player game. Obviously, I've got nobody to play my Evercade with at home because my missus just looks at it and thinks those games are really old. I don't want to be playing that. I've got a Nintendo Switch. However, I'm sure I'll be able to find someone to play it with. And I also revisited, and I'll get to this in a bit. I don't want to dwell on it too much at the moment on the Pico 1 cartridge. And I was getting really into, where is it? So Iron Commando. Really good sort of Streets of Rage type game where you can get guns, shotguns, handguns, bats. It's really underrated actually. It's very difficult, but I was really into it. And as anyone in the Evercade Hangout will know, my cartridge. So I was playing this on Saturday. Come Sunday, the cartridge doesn't recognise anymore in my VS or my handheld. So yeah, disappointed, but I will talk about that in a bit. I don't want to dwell on that at the moment.
Okay, excellent stuff. Apart from the dead cart, Mr. Blunners, what have you been playing, buddy?
So I went back to Data East, as it Arcade 1?
Yep.
And I was playing Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja. I love that game. Quite easy, just go back, just spam it for the credits and just keep playing. A bit of Sly Spy, but it just reminds me of Daubs really, from being around Ryan's house when we were around that Christmas, and he's just constantly playing it, saying he don't like Evercade, but he's just playing Sly Spy to death. And I've already had a little go on the Game of the Month, so I need to get into that really and have a really good play on that, see if it's any good. But yeah, that's the 3 I've been playing at the minute, really.
Excellent. I have been going back over one that I probably haven't played for a really long time, even though it is a superb cart, and that is purely because I still just can't believe the price of it. The Technos cart. I still just cannot believe the price of that one, so that made me go back and think, yeah, I'm going to go back and play some Double Dragon. So that's predominantly what I like on that cart, but obviously I really do like Super Spike V-Ball as well. So I've been going back over that cartridge. It's a nice little one to kind of pick up and put down. As I was talking to Blunners before we came live, I'm playing a lot of really big open world games at the moment. So, I've paused Witcher 3 so that I could carry on with Final Fantasy 16, and collectively on those games I'm almost tapping 100 hours. So it's lovely to be able to just play some Double Dragon for 10-20 minutes, sometimes an hour, and just blitz through loads of it almost, and just switch out from some of these massive open worlds. So I've been going back over the Technos collection. Excuse me, you have to excuse me every now and then. I'm going to have to try and mute my mic, because every now and then I'm doing a cough, and you don't want to hear me coughing. That's just gross. Okay, so latest news. Is the latest news going to lead straight into the first topic, or is there other news we want to discuss first?
Should I cover? It's not really latest news, but let's cover my Pico 1 issue.
Yep, go for it
today, and then we can move on to something a little bit more interesting. And I don't want to come across as I'm moaning or ranting, because that's not what I want to do with this. But as I mentioned, Pico 1 was working Saturday, I think. Come Sunday, just stopped working. No reason, not recognised in my VS or in my handheld. So I reached out to Evercade customer support. Didn't put anything online because I thought, no, I'm going to reach out to support and hopefully get it resolved. Sent them a screenshot of my order from Funstock, which was 26 months ago, and sent pictures of the issue. I'm on the latest firmware, etc. All the things they usually ask for. And Evercade support are usually excellent. So I was surprised that I got a reply today, which basically says, "Hi Ryan, thank you for your proof of purchase. Unfortunately, we can't replace Pico Collection 1 for you as it is no longer within warranty," which made me think, is there a warranty with these cartridges? Because I've looked in the instruction manual, I've looked all over this, and I can't see anything that mentions a warranty. I can't see anything online either that mentions a 2-year warranty. If there is, please someone point me in the direction so I can look at it. And I appreciate things can't have a warranty forever. You buy a car, it comes with a 3-year warranty. Once that warranty's gone, then you're on your own. So but it would just be nice to know if they advertise that a bit more, that there is a 2-year warranty, so I wouldn't have wasted my time contacting support. It's the case that I'm probably going to have to buy a new one now, which is frustrating because should this really be dying after 26 months? I've had cartridges from years ago that still work, and I know these aren't the same as a Nintendo NES or Game Boy cartridge, but yeah, it's just a little bit disappointing, and it's soured my feelings towards Evercade a little bit today. And I was in such a grump, I cancelled my pre-orders of the next 2 cartridges, and I'm like, so I was in a grump. I'll probably change my mind tomorrow, but I was just annoyed, so I will leave it as that.
Yeah, but no, it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Like you say, things can't have a warranty forever, but a couple of years, that's you still want these things to be working for a good few years before things start totally dropping off the end. But we'll have to keep a tabs on that, Ryan. See what else comes out, and we'll see. See if that develops any further. Is there
we
any
do
other...
know? Sorry, just to stop. We do know that Blaze do watch these streams, so hopefully someone will watch it and reach out to me and just try and make things right, because I'm sure there's a loose cartridge floating around somewhere at Blaze HQ. They could just pop in the post for me, and I'd even be willing to pay postage for it, to be honest. It's just I've got the case, I just need a cartridge. So whether anyone at Blaze can help me, please do reach out to me, and I will know what wonderful people you are in the next
got to be done. Shall we slide into the topic that is probably going to cause lots of discussion? There'll be lots of discussions going between us. I think there'll probably be a lot of stuff going on in the chat as well, so please do get your opinions in the chat as we do this. So should we dive into the big topic? Should we go for it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so last week, was it last week? It was last week, wasn't it? Like I said before, time just doesn't exist to me anymore. Last week,
you're getting old. That's why.
Don't. Last week we had the HyperMega Tech announcement, and that was the HyperMega Tech Pocket. It took, I think, all of us a bit by surprise, but didn't shock anyone. Would that be a fair thing to say? I think people were quite...
It shocked me. I didn't expect that to be released at all.
No, I don't think anyone expected it to be released, but it was always in the back burner. People sort of said, I bet it is this, but it'd be cool if it was this. The HyperMega Tech Pocket. Let's do a little round robin before we sort of delve into things as a group discussion. So let's start with you, Mr. Derek. The Super Pocket. How do you feel?
The Game Boy did it itself. You had the Game Boy Pocket, if you remember, along with the Neo Geo Pocket. They all sort of went through a phase of shrinking the console. I think with Nintendo, of course, it was fine. The Game Boy had been out for years. But in this case, I think, it was only sort of 8 months ago, we had the EXP. And then obviously Now, of course, they've exploded with this pocket version. I appreciate it's supposed to be HyperMega Tech and not Evercade, even though it is technically a Evercade Pocket. Do I think more hardware in the current climate was a good idea? I can see where they're coming from. Obviously, to try and appeal to sort of people that perhaps haven't picked up an Evercade yet, and obviously with a bit cheaper price point of £49, they might jump in and perhaps they'll sample the old cartridge, and maybe that'll encourage them to buy the collection, maybe, or certainly up the cartridge sales. But I don't think that was what people really wanted from HyperMega Tech, if I'm honest. Perhaps their sales reflect something different. I know the translucent green and the other one haven't sold out at Funstock currently, so maybe I'm bouncing along the right lines. I don't know, but yeah, it's an unusual idea from them, and I could have come up with 1,000 other ones, which, you know, myself personally, I would have thought would have gone down better. But yeah, obviously they feel this is a fit. And if you look at the company My Arcade, who bring out like Bubble Bobble, Gallagher, Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja, Caveman Ninja, they've got about 20 of those with like Miss Pac-Man and all that sort of stuff on it. This kind of reminds me of, you know, trying to bounce into their market, but obviously allowing it with a Evercade port rather than a plug and play, which are kind of stuck with the games that are on it. So yeah, I can see them trying to sort of muscle in on My Arcade's market.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I flip flop back and forth between how I genuinely feel about it. So we'll get to my 5 pence in a minute. So Mr. Blunners, how do you feel about it? Super Pocket, what do you think?
So yeah, it completely caught me off guard. It wasn't what I was expecting they were going to bring out. I was like, it puts me in a bit of a predicament, really, because I feel the price point is very good. I think it's a good entry level, but like Derek said, it should be called like Evercade Pocket or Evercade. It should have the Evercade name on it because it plays Evercade games. I also feel like it's now stopping me from looking to get an EXP. So I'm looking at this thinking, well, why should I bother paying the extra and getting an EXP? And you've got a decent screen on there. It's a good form factor. It looks really like, I like the look of it and the fact that it play all the Evercade cartridges. So why am I going to go and spend 120 quid on an EXP when I can just go and get this for 50? So it was like I haven't gone for one yet, but I'm still in that predicament. Like, what do I do? Is it going to get more play than? Because I do like the XP, I do like the look of it, I like the feel of it. It's good, but it's kind of stopping me from getting that now because I think, well, I'll just get one of these. Yeah, and like I understand, like they've brought out different games on different ones, but to be honest, if you're only interested in one of them, like for me, who hasn't got any XP, I'd get the Capcom one just to play like the Mega Man and the Street Fighters and stuff. Whereas you would think that, is it because they couldn't release that on a cartridge? I don't know, but obviously now they're numbering them. They're going to try and bring out different collector versions of these as well. So, but yeah, I think they missed the point where it could have just been like an Evercade Pocket or an Evercade SP or something. I mean, like it's got potential, but the £50 price point is quite good for a better screen. And I haven't read anywhere about if it's Wi-Fi or if it's got any battery, what the battery's like, as in like how long does it last. But yeah, I'm undecided, and it was completely caught me. I just wasn't expecting I just wasn't expecting it at all.
Mr. Ryan, Super Pocket, how do you feel?
I was fairly positive until earlier today. No, yeah, I don't understand why it's not called an Evercade Pocket, like everyone else has said. I don't get the HyperMega Tech thing at all. I like the Capcom one. I think it's got some good games on there. Having Street Fighter on a little handheld is quite cool, and I think that's going to sell these. But what I don't get where the market is outside of the Evercade community, because the only places I'm seeing these advertised is on the Evercade Facebook group, the Evercade Twitter, the Evercade, all their social media platforms. It's been discussed on the Evercade Discord, and they're saying this is a product not for Evercade fans. But the only place I'm seeing it talked about anywhere is amongst Evercade, the Evercade community. So, is this a product that's been brought out for a new market? I don't necessarily think so. I think they're targeting the same market again. They know that they've got a huge number of collectors within the Evercade community, and they will jump all over these because they are cool little devices. They're numbered again, which I don't think I particularly agree with that, because that creates a form of FOMO amongst people. And I know people, I've had this debate in the Evercade Hangout with people, and I know people, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. But that's easily said than done. A lot of people, they see these things and they need it. And when they see there's only 100 left of 2000 limited edition and they think they're going to miss out, then, they jump on it. So it's a difficult one, because I do quite like the look of it. I think the Capcom one's really cool. I like the idea that it can play Evercade games. The price point's okay as well. I just don't know. There's so many unknowns with it. Like Blunners said, what's the battery life like? Are all the Evercade games going to work in it from day one? Is it really never going to need an update? I don't know. I've got lots of questions that I think they need to answer, and until they're out, we're not going to know, are we? And where are these things going to be for sale as well? Is it just going to be Game, Argos, and Funstock and Amazon, or are they planning on getting these out to? Everyone laughs at me when I mention John Lewis. They're like, "Oh, you shop in John?" I don't shop in John Lewis, but that's the type of place I would expect to see them at Christmas. They have the big, I walk through John Lewis. If you live in Southampton, you come from the train station, you cut through John Lewis to get to all the shops that you can afford. But you have a browse through John Lewis, and you've got, they always have a big Christmas display, games, and, this type of product. That's where they need to be getting it. And people will pick it up as an impulse buy, because they'll see $49.99. That's got Street Fighter on it. My husband used to play that 25 years ago. That'll be a great stocking filler for him. But that's where I am with it. I know I waffled a bit there, and it was probably a lot of talk and not a lot of substance. But that's where I am.
I sort of seem to sit in a camp where I sort of look at it and I think, I'm going to pre-order that, and then I don't, and then I think about it a bit more, and then I sort of go to pre-order it, and then I don't. And I keep flip-flopping between which one I'm actually going to even pick up, if I'm going to pick one up, purely because I do want an EXP. And if I'm going to get an EXP, there is no point in me getting the Capcom version, because I'm going to have all those games on the EXP. It's going to be a slightly bigger screen. It's going to be a slightly nicer form factor. So if I do decide to jump on one, it's probably going to be the Taito one, because there's are any of the Taito games on Evercade? I don't believe they are. So that would be cool. I think Nicholas said it in the chat earlier. He might have preferred a Taito collection cartridge over something like this, but there's something about the form factor of this that I do like. Sometimes if you're like, me and Ryan will sometimes have to go away for work. Sometimes you don't want to take a Switch with you on the train. You don't want to take a EXP or even sometimes the original Evercade. Having something this size, just that little bit smaller, takes up less room in your bag. From the looks of it, it would fit on your inside jacket pocket if you really wanted to. It takes Evercade cartridges, so it sort of prolongs its life a little bit as well. It's not just a one and done machine. I don't know. I think when I said earlier, I didn't expect the announcement to be more hardware from or another piece of hardware. But it didn't overly shock me once it happened. I think people were like, well, yeah, that's kind of following the pattern of I guess how they've released things so far. But like everyone has said, they've clearly done a bit of market research here to think, is there a place for this? And if there is, how are we going to market it so that we at least hit the ground running with it? And I guess for all intents and purposes, if you don't own an Evercade yet, or you've always been sat on the fence about it, you could take a punt on 49 quid on this, 50 quid. You could think, yeah, I'll get that, and I'll get 2 cartridges, and see what it's like. And if I don't like it, I'll sell it, and move it on, and you probably get your money back on it, to be honest. So yeah, is it appealing to a newer market? Maybe. I think, as everyone has said in the chat there, it's going up against that My Arcade device. And I know Ryan was showing me the Contra one today. It's a great looking Contra device, the My Arcade one, but it's 50 quid for Contra. I'm not paying that. That's 50 quid for just Contra. Yeah, you can link it up to another one, but then you have to have another one. So to have 50 quid for Street Fighter 2, Mega Man X, or the plethora of really high-end Taito games, that's more appealing. Oh, and it plays all the Evercade cartridges as well. Oh, well, that's also infinitely more appealing. So yeah, it could be muscling in on that market. I don't know. I flip-flop between the clicking that pre-order. I would love to try one out. I would love to see it in the flesh, because it looks great. I mean, it looks like a Game Boy, doesn't it? There's no getting around it. It's very difficult to make a device that's shaped like that doesn't look like a Game Boy. But at this point, the Game Boy was so long ago, I think you can get away with it now. It's a great looking device. The colors are great. Again, the box art like you've got there for the Super Edition, that looks great. Like it's clearly got a lot of thought put into the various things that click with people. So the first thing is it visually appealing? And yes, it is. Is it financially appealing? Yeah, it is. So I don't know. I would love to play one, try it in my hands, see what it feels like, and then make a decision. I don't know how we're going to do that. Unless someone from Blaze wants to have us up to the office so that we can come and have a play on one. I would love to see how it works. Because it's got a lot of things going for it. I just think for that maybe the Evercade community and the retro community, maybe they wanted something different. I don't think they maybe wanted another console. I think they wanted something different. But we'll just have to see. This is the first of many things to come from HyperMega Tech, so maybe they just wanted to hit the ground running with a system so that they can try something else. There's a little wink there from Derek, the man in the know. We've missed those little tidbits there from.
I think there's I think there's been quite a boom in especially in like the Amberneck and like them Chinese ones that you can get. There's been a lot in that same kind of form factor that they recently brought out, and I think they've been having a lot of success. Like there's a Mio Mini 2 or something it is. That one's sold out and they couldn't buy it. You could not buy it for love nor money anywhere unless you're paying stupid. So I think they've seen that form factor, and it's exactly the same form factor as well. Small screen, buttons on the side, like that sort kind of size. And I think, like you're saying, I think getting their stake in the ground, this is the company, this is our handheld that we're going to bring. And also, so you're not just stuck with them games, you can play your old Evercade games. So then obviously bang, that opens up to people like you say who do buy it. They can then prolong it and go and look at these that now start looking into Evercade as well. So I can understand that them kind of like ways they've gone about it. But it just, like I said, I thought, I don't know, wasn't expecting. I was expecting it to be some sort of like merchandise company that will like sell you all kinds of like posters and cuddly toys and all that kind of stuff. That's what I was expecting, and like amiibo figure kind of things or something like that. So that's what. But so for them to bring that out, it did catch me completely off guard, really.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, as we've said on a couple of streams now, there was that part of me that just wished it was an Earthworm Jim statue or an Earthworm Jim figure. You know, that's my new
controversy if it was
that's
that
my
just
new
a statue.
that's my new Simpsons arcade soapbox, that Earthworm Jim statue. So yeah, it's a strange one. It's a strange one. I don't know what else can really sort of come from it, because when does it come out?
It's
October.
October. But there was a point you made then, Ollie, about the My Arcade Contra being 2-player.
Yeah.
Why didn't they make this like Bluetooth compatible, or you can plug a wire in, play Street Fighter with your mate, and then you're more likely to pick 2 up at Christmas, and then for a couple of people who like games, and then they can play them together. Playing
Yeah.
Street Fighter, Street Fighter to me has always been a 2-player game that you play with your mates, and that's the most fun when you're playing Street Fighter. Then I don't understand why. Well, I guess the reason why they haven't made it 2-player is because they want to push people into buying the VS, which is their 2-player system. But yeah, I just think that's a missed trick, definitely. And they could have bundled 2 together, and like they've done with the Taito and Capcom one, they could have bundled the 2 Capcom ones together for £100 or slightly less, and said, Street Fighter 2 2-player with Bluetooth, or however that they were the cheapest way for them to do it, with a wire, for example.
Mhm.
And I think that would have been better if they'd done that.
Yeah, I mean, they missed a little trick there, because there was 2 ways they could have done it. You could have done it with the pack-in lead like the Game Boy had, which would connect the 2. Or if you wanted to save money, for people that had already invested in a Versus, if you remember, it came with the lead, which connected the handset to the Versus. So, yeah, exactly. You could have used that lead that's now redundant to connect the 2 handhelds, or even connect the handheld to the Versus, and then you could have played the Capcom games through it and used the second joypad.
See,
Yeah.
you're an ideas man. You're an
Easy.
ideas man, Derek. But it's little things like that you just sort of think, yeah, maybe this isn't the product that we all think it is, or think it's going to be. Maybe it is going to be just as dead simple as it's not a plug and play, is it? Because you can interchange your Evercade cartridges, but it's definitely a stripped back system.
But hasn't it got dip switches? So sorry, Derek. Hasn't it got dip switches though for the arcade games, which the EXP hasn't even got at the moment? So
it's something that Blaze are supposed to introduce perhaps later in the year. Things like dip switches.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just looking into how to make it as simplistic as possible, really, so that anybody can do it. You don't necessarily have to be a master in lots of fiddling and diddling. So yeah. Unless you're a newsreader.
Allegedly.
There's no allegedly about it. Dip switch. Someone jump on that for us. What do we mean by dip switch?
Dip switch is I only know like the basics, but with emulation arcade games, you can go into the cabinet settings and you can make the games easier. So basically, in the old days, you'd play Street Fighter and you get absolutely battered when you put a pound in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's probably because the guy in the arcade put the level up to the maximum and gave you can even change like the hit detection of the computer person versus the human person. So your Hadouken, or whatever it's called, for example, will take off about that much energy, whereas a punch for the computer will take off about that much energy. So there's all sorts of things you can do with it. I think you can change the graphics slightly, the sounds, and but the main thing people want them for is for the difficulty, because it's some of those arcade games are rock hard on the VS and the EXP.
Yeah. Excellent. That just nicely clarifies everything there for that there. Yeah. Is there anything we want to cover more with the HyperMega Tech Pocket? I think all the questions we've had so far are probably to do with the Megatech Pocket. I know Derek was going to jump in there, so if we dive in.
Yeah, just to quickly say that should the Super Pocket require an update in future, not saying it will, but if it did, you will be able to update it the same way you update the original Evercade handheld. So obviously connect it to a PC and use a similar method. So yeah, that will be something that will be an option if there seems to be a problem where a game isn't working, which is probably.
Will they not try and put updates on cartridges? I know someone in the chat mentioned that in Discord it's been suggested, or is that something they just can't do?
I expect it is, but whether they want to or not, it's a different kettle of fish. I don't think they want to. Because it's an idea that's been bounded around for a long time. So, yeah, I think they prefer to do it this other way. But not everybody's got a PC, of course, or a laptop. So it can be difficult for those people.
And not everyone buys the most recent cartridge either, do they? So that doesn't work for everyone. So, yeah. As someone suggested in the chat before, go to a library and update it. If you've not got a PC.
Not? There you go.
Yeah. Could be done. So I think going through the next bit, we'll probably bring in some other parts on the HyperMega Tech Pocket. But rather than do these at the end, because it's sort of on topic, it could be a good idea just to go through the starred questions we have so far, because they are to do with the Pocket. So if we kick it off with Pete, Mr. Snestastic, his question is, if the Super Pocket only had preloaded games, no Evercade compatibility, would it be a more desirable purchase? We'll do a little round the table. Ryan, let's start with you. What do you think? If it didn't have the Evercade bit, would it be more desirable?
I don't know if it'd be more desirable, but I would imagine we wouldn't be sitting here saying it was aimed at the Evercade market. So, yeah, I don't think it's from my perspective. I think it's more desirable because you can put Evercade games in it. But from someone who's just picking one up for a Christmas present, are they going to really be interested in that Evercade cartridge slot? Possibly not. I don't know. I think it opens up more options for people. So, yeah, it's good that it's there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you guys answer. I really don't know the answer, to be honest. It's an odd question.
Mr. Blunners, what do you think?
No, I don't think it would. I think it'd have to be a hell of a lot cheaper. Because it was just coming with 9 games. I'm not going to spend 50 quid on it. And like you said, I think you'd be like, well, how can I prolong this? Like, is there anything else? I think it's a smart move to put the Evercade compatibility on there because, like we said, it can prolong it. But without that kind of, I don't think it's worth that sort of money. I think they've got to try and warrant the price, I think. And if it might be an easy fix for them. Plus, it could get potentially more sales on Evercade cartridges. So it's a bit of a win-win, really.
Does putting that cartridge slot on there, I don't know if Derek, if you know the answer to this, does that increase the price of production significantly from your understanding?
Not really, no.
Okay.
No, it doesn't make that much difference. So, yeah.
Okay. And Derek, what do you think about the question there?
Well, I think they have one or two ways to go. I think like Blunners, you either had to go without the cartridge port and it needed to be a hell of a lot cheaper. I'd have come in at about $29.99, tops of $34.99. I might have even opened a little download store where you could perhaps download extra Capcom games for more money, like Alien vs. Predator, because I would have got you all instantly. So, yeah, that would have been a killer idea. By adding the cartridge port, I like the idea But here's my issue with it. If you called it the Evercade Pocket, I've got no problem. This arrives on Christmas Day. I want to know what cartridges go in the back. I type in HyperMega Tech. I can't see any cartridges there for the Evercade. But, you've got to fish around. You've got to try and find them. It muddies the water a little bit. I've had lots of people trying to tell me that it's not an Evercade product. It's made by a completely different company. It's just a different department. Yeah. So like when you go into John Lewis and you see something by, one of these other little counters, it's not, it's just the same thing under an umbrella. And I think that needed to be made a lot clearer for people so that they didn't become confused by it.
Yeah. It almost feels like it's the loophole. I know some people have said that in the comments, but it feels like that's the loophole to bring another product out. It's not Evercade, it's HyperMega Tech, but it is Evercade.
Yeah, I can see they were concerned. As I say, they've only 8 months ago brought the EXP out, and previously to that, the Versus. So to suddenly bring out another piece of hardware, it probably would have got them hammered. Try and do it under sort of smoke and mirrors to bring it this way. I think people would have liked to have seen something completely different that perhaps was unique to the HyperMega Tech brand, perhaps moving away from the Evercade in that respect. Will it sell a lot more cartridges? I think I'm with Ryan there, that it's mainly the Evercade community that's bought it. I would say 86% of the people that follow me bought it, and both actually, a large amount of them, and they already had Evercades. So will it sell any more cartridges? That remains to be seen, but it is a great little handheld if you've got kids, because it looks quite robust. So if you're used to them like dropping the Switch or whatever, and like, oh my god, then this is perfect, because they can chuck that about or have it on the bus or on the train, and it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I don't think I can add anything to it really in terms of my opinion. I don't think it would have made it a less desirable product. Or a more desirable product. If it didn't, it would have just made it a different product. And if it's a different product, it would have to be marketed completely differently. Whereas at the moment, it's definitely, I think, geared and marketed towards the Evercade community. And then maybe from there, it will spider out into the various places it wants to, and hopefully will get to. Excellent. Nice question. Cheers for that, Pete. That was lots of opinion there. Next one from Mr. Nick C. Do you think that Blaze could possibly opt to put a top collection on a pocket rather than a cartridge and make more profit out of it? Derek, what do you think?
I think now they've snagged the Super Pocket idea, you're going to see a lot of these. So if you are collecting in the chat, and I don't know if you are, so let us know. I think you're going to need a big cabinet, put it that way. It's a lot more money for them to produce these and put things like Taito on it, Capcom, Sega, Konami, SNK, do a Mortal Kombat one. You can go on forever, really. Simpsons, Alien versus Predator, and put the few Capcom games that are missing from the first handheld with them. And you could pump these out to infinity. Would it be worth doing the cartridges? I don't know. You'd have to do a big enough draw of something that people can't download free on an emulator.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem you're up against these days. I mean, even bring in Taito, it sounds wonderful, but the Switch has got 2 collections.
Yeah.
So you've got to target the market with either some rarer ones, or or to be honest, again, I don't see the numbers really being massive. The same with SNK. I mean, aren't they on the Switch already? So, you've really got to look into it. I think if you wanted to do an arcade collection, go with something like Cave Games.
Mm-hmm.
There's some brilliant bullet hell shooters, and I think you drag in a new demographic. But from just bringing out pocket ones like that, I don't know really whether over time they'll filter off as people start to get sort of number 8, number 9, number 10. How many are you prepared to buy? Would you buy 30 or 40 of them if they were games you liked, or would you rather have the cartridges?
Yep, it's a good point. Mr. Blunners, what do you think?
No, like Derek said, really, I can't see. You can't go that. How far can you go with it? 10 max. Do you know what I mean? I just like you're not going to keep. I can't see people just keep going and going for the same thing. Yeah, I wouldn't mind like the one, but no, I wouldn't buy like hundreds of them. I know someone in the comments has just put that he would buy. He's thrown one at the kid and he's putting one in the toilet. So I can understand. I can understand just to have one there. Like you can put one in the car. Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
I can't really see once you've got an absolute ton worth of them. Where else can you go with it, really?
Yeah. Ryan, how do you feel?
Yeah, I personally think if they had a choice over putting, say, for example, Alien versus Predator, Atari Jaguar game on a cartridge or on one of these handhelds, they're going to put it on one of these handhelds because the profit margin is so much bigger. I imagine. I think I worked out from pre-sales alone of 2000, Funstock are making £250,000. I know they're not making that because they've got to pay production costs and everything. But then if you do the maths on 2,000 cartridges, it's nowhere near those amounts. So yeah, if there's a big license there, I know we've got Duke Nukem on cartridges, which is excellent, but personally, I think they'll go down the pocket route over cartridges now, sadly, and I hope I'm wrong, but I've just got a feeling this is going to happen because it's going to make them the most money because hardware ultimately makes more money, doesn't it, than these cartridges?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I agree with everything everyone said. I agree with everyone in the chat pretty much as well. I think there is going to be a life cycle to them. I think even the hardcore collectors will. You can't just keep having loads of these little handhelds. It's like the kids when you were younger. Do you remember everyone there was always that one kid in the street who just had all the Tiger handheld games. I know these aren't Tiger handhelds. I really don't mean to draw that comparison. But my point being, you would buy the Street Fighter Tiger, then you'd have the Sonic one, then you'd have the Turtles one, and there would be all these different ones. Just having like a little smattering of them in there, release. I don't know. Well, people keep saying 10. 10's quite a nice round number. Would I buy 10? No. I don't have the space. Number one. But yeah, I can't. I couldn't commit to these sorts of things. So would I like one? Like I said, I keep flip flopping. Yeah, I don't think I can add anything else to that really. But an interesting idea.
Your Tiger handheld. Oh, sorry, Derek. I was just gonna say your Tiger handheld comparison. I think spot on, to be honest, because they jumped on. Yeah, they jumped on the back of films or television shows at the time, and they just brought out more and more and more. And I can see this once they've got 5 or 6 out there, just going to keep coming over the course of the next few years.
They've got to be consistently selling though, haven't they? You've got to turn a profit with them. If they don't turn a profit, if they just break even on them, they're not going to keep making them because what's the point? They've got to turn a tidy profit, I think. So certainly the first couple, yeah, I can see those selling quite well. I do agree with you, Ryan. I think maybe if they were worried about maybe not selling as many on a cartridge, maybe they'll put it on a pocket. Maybe they'll make a bit more money out of it. I don't know. It's weird. The more we talk about it, the more these more questions come out of it, don't they? It's a very odd product. Sorry, Derek, you were going to dive in there as well.
No, I mean, I was just going to say to people, if you want to buy them, I appreciate there's collectors of everything, from coins to videos. So, I mean, if it's your thing and you want to collect handhelds because perhaps you like looking at them in glass cabinets, then by all means do so. If you want to buy it and you want a game on it, then yeah, I can totally understand. But I would just say to people in the comments, this is very, very important that you shouldn't feel obliged and you shouldn't feel a fear of missing out. When the fun stops, stop. Yeah. If it's getting too much and you find you're just stacking them up in the corner, because I've got a young man who only lives about 10 doors from me, and he's currently stacking stuff in his loft that he buys online. And it's got beyond control really for him. And I can see, I don't want to see a Super Pocket Special Edition Channel 4 hoarders where you can't get in the door because you've filled the house with Super Pockets. I'm sure it would, delight Blaze Entertainment, and I'm sure we'd all have a very good laugh. But for that poor individual who's perhaps now living in the garden, it wouldn't be quite so funny. So just be careful.
Yeah, and that's a sound bit of advice as well. Don't have the fear of missing out. I know we all get it. There's there's things that come up, and especially if you're a collector, there's things that do sort of come around. But every now and then, just taking stock of it all. And I think that's a good phrase, Derek. When the fun stops, stop. That's excellent stuff. Okay, last question before we move on to the next topics. I'm aware time is ebbing away. This was from the wonderful Mr. Rob Taylor, who has titled his question correctly. Dear Derek, with these small handhelds being numbered, did you see less companies doing cartridges for EXP's VSs? Does this put EXP VS at risk? So interesting. Yeah. So would a company say, yeah, we'll give you the license, but put it on your pocket? What do you think, Derek?
Well, I can see the point of view Evercade put out, which was this was the only way they could license it. However, I feel that if you give in to these demands, then it only sets up more companies in future to say, oh, we're download only. So I think they should have stuck to their guns. I think they could have gone the indie route. I think there's plenty of indie developers that you could have filled more cartridges with. And if the big boys want to come to play, then they've got to come on your terms. But I think if you give in to their demands, I mean, they're happy enough to bring out those little cartridges on the Switch for the Taito collections and things like that. And okay, most people will bow to Nintendo. They open a checkbook, they write as many zeros as required, and it happens. But at the same time, I think you could set a bad precedent for your company. And as I say, I know they've said that these games might come over time, but I mean, we're 4 years into the Evercade's life now. How much more time has the handheld got? Are we looking at 12 months, 18 months? I don't know. If it continues to be successful, could it go longer? I think once people realize a certain demographic of people within the Evercade community, things like Taito and Capcom, Sega, Konami, aren't coming to a physical cartridge, they might feel a little bit like they've been led down the garden path, and that might cause people to move away from the product. So I think it's very important to be honest, and if you really don't feel there's a chance, I think it's very important for them to say and be very clear about it, and then we'll work on perhaps getting some better indie games onto the Evercade and build a community out of that, because I think there's great potential.
Yep, I think we've said it loads of times, haven't we? Where that for me is where the Evercade it's almost like a star. It's got its own platform to give indie developers this absolutely incredible community of people who are really passionate about gaming. So to have indie developers almost exclusively come to the Evercade, that would be incredible. Yeah. Okie dokie. There's a couple of questions else, but we'll leave those ones till the end. So the next topic is the CEO mid-2023 update. I read through this with Ryan earlier today. There's some choice wording in it, and the bit at the end of the update is the thing that gives me a lot of happiness as an Evercade enthusiast. I'll go with enthusiast. So, when Blaze Entertainment first brought Evercade to the retro gaming world, there was a lot of interest and intrigue, which of course there was, of what we were doing. Bringing back cartridges in a digital world seemed risky. Yep, excellent, all very good. Yep, talking about the start of 23, Evercade cartridges, licenses, productions.
Just to go back, Ollie, this point here, where the CEO's put, I remember an early interview where I said there would be over 50 Evercade cards. We are now close to this milestone, and I expect many more amazing collections to be released in the future. So, are they saying that there's going to be 50 and that's going to be it, or is everyone else reading that as different? As we're approaching 50, which was my target, and we're just going to keep churning these out into the future. There's two ways to read that.
Okay. Well, Blunners, how do you read it?
Yeah, quite roughly the same as Ryan there. I feel it does seem a bit like, we'll get to 50 and we're out on a thing. It's a bit of an odd statement.
Yeah, why mention the 50?
Like,
I don't get that. Why the need to mention it?
No.
Okay. Derek, what do you think?
Well, with the rest of the cartridges this year, and obviously taking us up to February, where there will obviously be Indie Heroes Collection 3 and another one, that would rack us up to about 55, 56 cartridges. So a good indication, I suppose, next year will be whether they continue the Indie Game of the Month for 2025. Because obviously that would come in the February, or whether that would be the last cartridge, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah, it does seem a little bit concerning there, I must admit.
I think I must have my positive head on today. I read that and I hear it's almost like when you're in a band for the first time and you play your first gig and you record your first little demo disc and that kind of thing, and you sort of sell it at a show. And you're like, yeah, I can't wait until we've got 3 albums out. And then you get to that point, you've got 3 albums out and you're like, yeah, this is happening. And then you kind of keep going. So I'm kind of seeing it as, a point in time when they were sort of saying there's going to be a time when there's going to be 50 cartridges out. And now we're approaching 50 cartridges, and it's almost like a reflection on where I wanted it to go, hypothetically, starting a new business, and where we're actually at. Like, we are approaching 50 cartridges now. This isn't this wasn't a pipe dream. I've done it, and we're going to keep. I see it as they'll keep going. But yeah, interesting to see what other people take of it. Do chuck in the chat what you guys think as well. Right, let's scroll down a little bit. Where are we at? There was another couple of pieces in here, Ryan, wasn't there? I'll if you see them, do highlight them. Continue to improve bug identification and testing of our products before release. We know from the community that new updates and releases come new issues. Working with decades-old games can encounter original bugs. Yep. So I mean that for me is also a positive thing. Just acknowledging that there are bugs. There's Sorry, go on, dude.
No, I was just going to say, just above there, they've mentioned that they're doubling the size of the team as well. So I don't know what that means. Is doubling the size of the team? Half of the team going to deal with HyperMega Tech, the other half going to deal with Evercade. So when they're doubling the size of their team, they're doubling the size of Blaze, not that Evercade team.
Yeah. I mean, that in itself could be a good thing as well. If you've got, a team of people working on a particular thing, maybe there could be some crossover. I don't know. But yeah, for me, that comment about the bugs, just acknowledging the bugs, for me is a big tick in the box. There's no ignoring the fact that there have been some issues this year. There's a big statement there. We acknowledge it. Yeah. At this time, we've just announced the newest brand, HyperMega Tech.
See, that was interesting that they did that, because a lot of people were still arguing that this wasn't part of Blaze Entertainment, HyperMega Tech, that I saw online, or they were saying that it wasn't an Evercade product. But you've got it there that the CEO of Blaze Entertainment on the Evercade website is saying that they are one of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, one of the comments there just really tickled me there. This episode feels like Evercade's eulogy. Jesus, I hope it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, I mean, as long as they can continue to get publishers, I hope they go on for a long time yet.
Yeah.
But obviously that very much depends on the publishers and whether they want to continue to come. So
Yeah.
hopefully they will.
Yeah, I think possibly where we've talked a lot about the HyperMega Tech this episode, and not a stonking amount about Evercade specifically. Yeah, I can see maybe how it's kind of coming it's coming across that. Yeah, Nathan, top comment, mate. That's really tickled me. Okay. Yes, there's a bit in there that I really liked.
See,
Okay,
sorry, you've got the Super Pockets are our first new products that we believe offer something different to a much wider audience of retro gamers. So are we going to start seeing those little mini arcade systems coming out? That is it My Arcade do them as well?
Yeah.
I can see lots more hardware coming out apart from these pockets. I think we're going to get a lot more. And then you'll just have an Evercade cartridge on it somewhere, so it's compatible with that.
Do you know those mini arcade things though? I'd be kind of onto that if they could get the licensing for some of the games. So things, yes, I'd be in on that, of course. But you know, like you see in America, they get Dragon's Lair, and they've got Qbert, and all these really cool ones that actually they operate very much like a little arcade console. You open them up, there's a little pretend laserdisc thing in there. It comes with a little quarter that you can put in. It does absolutely nothing, but it just feels cool, like a nice little nod to the product. If they go down that route and make it this really high-end little mini arcade cabinet, I think you could be onto an absolute winner, because it's not a 20 quid plug and play. It's the arcade experience, just in a very small form factor that's still very playable, and would speak very much to a collector. Now that would require it to be a very high-end product, and people would have to pay a high-end price for it. I think the Dragon's Lair one was like $150. So these things aren't cheap, but they're very, very cool, and they do speak to a very specific market. So if they went down that route, it could be good. If it's a plug and play type system that's cheap and a bit plasticky, then maybe not. But yeah, branching out into other products is an interesting one, and I think picking the arcade collection thing, I think that's a good shout. I think that's definitely something that could happen for sure.
Yeah. Quarter arcade machines do really well, don't they?
They do.
Have you ever seen those? Yeah, they're phenomenal. They've kind of cornered the market at the moment. So yeah, if you could come in and be a little bit cheaper, but get the artwork right and get the feel right, which is the most important bit, then perhaps they could be onto something. It's always good to have competition.
Yeah, of course. And at the moment, it's just One Up. One Up are the only ones doing it. But if you've got HyperMega Tech, for instance, coming in and releasing an absolute belter for £280, that's a nice little undercut. And especially if you're a British company selling things in Britain as well, you're gonna get a lot more people than getting that than over something like a One Up. Interesting. Oh, I like it, Derek. I like it. Quarter arcade cabinets. HyperMega Tech, I hope you're listening to this, because you could you could be making some money out of the quarter cabinet arcade. Okay, reaching out into the world of physical events, representation or sponsorship and exhibition in both the UK, US, and Europe. So that would be nice to see. I don't think Evercade have been to a event yet. I don't think as Evercade. Obviously, we met Sean at OLL, which was really great and really wonderful to meet him and speak to him. But I don't think as a brand they've ever been anywhere. So that would be really cool to see. And I think that would do really well as well. I think if they were to go to some of these trade events like EGX, or some of these really big events where you do have people who maybe don't know what Evercade is yet, they could see it, they could play it, they could see how cool it is, you know, the interchangeable carts. And I think people would really like, yeah, I think it would, I think that would do them wonders. Okay. Where's that
there's
last
a
bit?
comment here. Our company is transitioning from being the home of the Evercade to being the home of the best retro experiences at any price point. So, you know, any price point. What does that mean? And transitioning from the home of Evercade is going to worry a lot of Evercade supporters, I think, because are they going to be taking their eye off the ball with Evercade, and they're going to be more focused on these new HyperMega Tech products moving forward?
Yeah. Talk amongst yourselves while I try and find this comment, because there was definitely one comment. Okay. He's gotten rid of it now.
Oh, I thought you were looking on your own screen.
No, I was reading yours, mate.
Oh,
we just managed to have that perfectly in sync and in time there. So as you were scrolling, I was hitting those beats.
Yeah, I mean, as a big Evercade fan, naturally, I'm going to side with the fact that I'd rather Blaze did one thing well than 10 things badly. So I'd rather they kept pouring their time and effort for a minute into that Evercade product. I appreciate it's over fourth year now. So, yeah, I appreciate they need to look to the future as well for other things. But, yeah, I just think the Evercade still needs a lot of attention. And hopefully it'll still get it, and it won't sort of get spilled over into too many other products, and perhaps less attention put on procuring those collections and working towards things like arcade sticks and wireless controllers and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Ryan, for bringing that back up. So the bit that I really like in this is the second to last sentence. For Evercade to continue to provide the classic gaming experiences, and for HyperMega Tech to give more retro entertainment for adults and families to enjoy. That for me is again, I've got my positive head on today. I feel like that is a really positive thing. If you're an Evercade fan, I'd like to think that is a really sort of it's an affirmation for Evercade to continue to provide the classic gaming experiences. Because that's what we all bought into Evercade for. It's got all the games that we used to really enjoy as kids, or young teens. It's got lots of stuff that we've never played before, and it opens all these doors to all these other things. And then to have HyperMega Tech to just kind of be an extension of this is to do something different that we maybe don't want to do with Evercade. So, for me, I thought it was quite a positive update actually on the state of where Evercade is, where they want it to be. So hopefully this feels less like a eulogy now, and more like we're actually seeing the positivity to this, because there's a lot of positive things to take from it. I think probably what's taken people off guard is just what the first product that HyperMega Tech have released is going to be. That's I think the thing that's thrown the spanner in the works for people to then question, well, what's happening to Evercade? If you're bringing out another handheld under another guise, like what's happening with this? Are you forgetting about it? I don't think they are. I think they're going to be two companies owned by Blaze that are going to do two different things, but they're just going to complement each other in the middle ground. Interesting times ahead.
I think I probably would have been a bit more positive if my Pico 1 cartridge hadn't broken as well. So I apologise. So I apologise if people think that that it probably didn't help that I've been on a bit of a downer from the start of this episode, and I promise you normal service will resume for the next one, definitely. Probably mainly because I won't be here, so they won't need to worry about my negativity.
You're going to miss the best bit.
Right, so before we get into closing up and finishing where we're at, there was two other questions that we starred from the earlier bit. First one is from Nicholas Skipkins. Will there be screen protectors available for the Super Pocket? I genuinely hope so. because again, it looks like it's got quite a nice screen. Certainly looks like it's got a better screen than the OG handheld. So I would like that to be protected if possible. I think you'd probably be all right if you couldn't get one made by HyperMega Tech. I think it's probably going to be a similar sort of size. Just looking at the Game Boy Pocket up there, I think it's going to be a similar size to that. So there probably will be someone who's probably made or will make some tempered glass ones. I'm sure the Evercade community are very resourceful. So I'd imagine someone somewhere will probably start making them if HyperMega Tech don't. So
maybe I might start making them, and I could be able to afford to buy Pico Collection 1, which will be about £1,000 by the time.
Just that? Oh, I better put my eBay stuff up.
And then last question is from our very own Mr. Triangle Face Tim. Would you like to have seen a bundle option? If so, what would you like bundled with?
There is a bundle option on
there is.
Funspot.
Yeah,
they've managed to creep it or sneak in Atari 1, I think, is one of the games in there. Actually, I'll get them up, and I'll talk to you what is actually in the HyperMega Tech bundles. Funnily enough, if you go onto Funstock and you click on Evercade, I'm sure the HyperMega Techs come up, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, it should be on the opening page. And they do packs with 3 cartridges with either one. I think it's like Techno's Arcade's one of them.
Yeah, I can't. They're kind of hidden away. Oh, here we go. Nope, I tell a lie. Where are they? God, they've got a lot of stuff for sale on here, haven't they? I didn't know they sold so much stuff. Come on.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I'm trying to scroll through. I'm going to have to refresh the page again.
Is that EXP bundle back in stock yet?
Yeah, here we go. So you've got a HyperMega Tech Taito Super Pocket bundle. That comes with Atari Collection 1, Data East Collection 1, and Namco Collection 2, which not bad little startup collections there. And the Capcom one,
you get a legacy one with it. Yeah,
you do. Yeah, and the Capcom one, they've chucked in Techno's Arcade 1, which I guess kind of makes sense because of the fighting games, Atari Collection 2, and Namco Museum Collection 1. So
that's nice. Yeah, that's a nice collection.
Yeah, not too bad. If it was me, I would have Yeah, everyone. But there'll be a Super Pocket Pac-Man soon, I'm sure, with Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Man, Pack Attack. I would have sneaked in Television 2 just to kind of shift.
Oh, yes, definitely, yeah. I'd have made people pay £10 extra if they didn't want to receive it. Yeah.
Oh, man, even when Ryan was on last week, we couldn't let him go without telling him how much we really don't like that collection.
Sean, you mean?
Sean, sorry, yes, not Ryan from Play. Sorry, Sean. We couldn't help but sort of be like, yeah, we don't like that one, dude.
He did try and defend it though by saying you get some cards in the collection, but which are quite nice. They're kind of like the overlay of the controller, but yeah, it's not going to make me buy that collection. They need to. Well, I'm definitely not buying it now because I'm going to have to buy a new Pico 1 by the looks of it. So they're going to have to wait even longer for me to buy an Intellivision Collection 2. Before we move on, I did ask a couple of questions in the Evercade Hangout. I just want to read some of the responses, if that's okay. So I asked 4 questions. What is your reaction to HyperMega Tech Pocket release? Are you worried about the future of the Evercade? Have you or will you order HyperMega Tech? And what games would you like to see on a HyperMega Tech Pocket in the future? So Nick C has put, I was surprised by the product as it's basically an Evercade Mini. He's concerned that he thinks the Evercade is going to take a back seat, but he has ordered the Taito one because he really likes the games on there. So this is what it's going to appeal to people. And personally, I only want to see big publishers like Sega, and if they can't get and only if they can't get a cartridge deal. Rob Taylor, he's answered the same questions. I wonder if these handhelds are going to be made up of. So basically, he's wondering if these handhelds are only going to be for companies that don't want to make cartridges. He's not worried about the Evercade's future. There's still plenty of extra carts to add after what we've been shown on the first showcase, and obviously we've got the second showcase to come. He won't order because his eyes aren't good enough, but the screen's too small, and he's put a little smiley face to that. So, yep, aren't we all? I'm wearing glasses here, and he's not mentioning any games he wants to see on the pockets because he'd rather see them on cartridges, so he doesn't want to jinx it. Yeah, so and then we've got another Adrian P said he's not worried about the super pockets. He doesn't feel they're aimed at Evercade users. So they're very balanced arguments, or not arguments, are they? Very valid comments, opinions. That's it. And yeah, I know I've sat here and I've not been super positive about it, but I think the general gist is people are okay with the announcement.
Excellent. So quickly in our last couple of minutes, the Showcase 2 live stream. When is Showcase 2? If anybody knows, because I don't.
I think it's the end of the month.
Yeah, end of the month. Yeah, so you're looking for end of the month. So
it's the end of July. Yep. Okay, right. Are you back from holiday then?
I won't be. But are they planning it on the 31st of July? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it could rock up as early as next week. It's still up in the air, I think. So yeah,
live
clarification there.
Another live reactions,
that could be good fun. Yeah, if we've got enough time, or certainly for me anyway, if I've got enough notice ahead of time, I can make that work. That'd be great. Because I missed out on the last one, and I ended up watching you guys live in Greece. And I'd love to be on the next one. So yeah, we'll see if we can do that going. If people want to see that again, chuck it in the comments or go over to the Evercade Hangout and let us know if you want us to do a live stream reaction to the Showcase 2 as it happens, so you can get our honest reactions and initial thoughts straight off the bat.
It was a great stream last time, and there was loads of interaction, and I'll be sad not to be there, but I will be sunning myself up in Mallorca. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cancel it. Stay home. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I'll stay home to do the showcase and join them at a later date into the holiday.
Or just do it from the sunbed. Just do it from your sun lounger. Just live stream there with a pina colada in your hand, and it'd be great.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Right. Well, thank you everyone who's joined live. It's been a very lively chat. It's been great to get all the various interactions going in there. I really love that everyone is so respectful of each other's opinions. People disagreeing respectfully. That is all we ever asked for on all these things. We love people's differing opinions, especially if it's different to ours, because that's what creates good discussion. So yes, continue to do that.
Can I just, before we go, we did have a poll running in the chat this evening, which is a new feature we figured out how to do on our channel. So I set the poll: will you be ordering a HyperMega Tech Pocket? We've had 32 votes. 38% of people have said yes, 47% of people said no, and 16% of people said I prefer a flan. So take that with a
interesting. We'll see where we are. Maybe. Yeah. We'll see where we're at. Maybe we'll do a follow-up to that in a couple of months, just before release, and see where people sit then. It'd be interesting to follow that one up, I think, and sort of see where things are at. Right, before I do all the usual plugs and everything that we've got coming up, Nottingham Video Game Expo this weekend. Make sure you get yourselves down there if you're not already. One-day event put on by Mr. Jarvis and Mr. Owl from Games Re-Up. It's going to be a great event. Myself and Tim are going to be up there. Evercade Evolution magazine are going to be up there. Gebs24 is going to be there. There's going to be loads of people there from Rare Games in the 90s. Like, get yourselves down there. It's going to be an absolutely belting weekend. If you're not already, head on over to Facebook's fastest growing Evercade group, the Evercade Hangout. I think it's at 1.5 thousand members now, which is great. It's growing.
Or 1,500 if.
Yeah, 1.5k members. It's always getting big, and it's growing really well. Everybody in there is super respectful. Everybody in there, there's a mixture of all really good opinions. All we ever ask is, again, that you just treat everyone with the respect that you want to be treated within there, and that would be absolutely superb. So do head on over there, become a member, and join in all the discussions that Ryan has going on over there. If you're new to the channel, or you found us through YouTube searches or anything like that, please consider hitting that subscribe button, giving the video a little thumbs up so that we know that you've been here. The Total Evercade podcast is fortnightly, so we will be back again in 2 weeks' time on a Monday. It's becoming a very regular show now. So yeah, make sure you head on over to Derek's Sir Top and Hat Twitter page. Give Derek a follow as well. He's always got great little bits of information and little tidbits to go out there. I'm chuckling at Snestastic's comment there. That's what she said. Oh, yes, I completely agree. And I heard it in my head as I was saying it. That was the dreadful thing. Yeah, it's been really good fun tonight. I think it's the Super Mega Tech has definitely caused a lot of interesting discussions, and hopefully there'll be even more discussions to come. So again, thank you everyone for joining live. If you're watching this back, thank you for watching it back as well, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time. So good evening everyone, and good night.